Well, the haters gonna hate, 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 and the faker's gonna fake, 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 baby. I'm just gonna make, making luck, a Dominion podcast.
Uneven leftover proportions are the worst. They irk me so much. Like, we'll have about a serving's worth of meat and a serving's worth of potatoes to go with it, and then someone will just go eat the potatoes. Like, ugh!
Just the potatoes?
They'll eat just the potatoes, leaving me with just meat, which would have been greatly augmented by the potatoes, but no.
God. What a monster.
Yeah. That's the
Did you call the police? Did you call 911?
I considered it, but then I realized that they probably would just, just say something dumb like, why don't you just go make more potatoes? And yeah, I didn't want
They need to know, okay? This is serious. Serious business, okay?
I guess.
Welcome to Making Luck, a Dominion podcast. A serious business podcast. Welcome to Making Luck.
The making of the luck.
We made the luck and we made a podcast. Hi, yes. I'm Adam, and this voice that you've never heard on the podcast before, this is Ari. Hi, what's up?
Yo, I am really hyped and honored and nervous, to be honest.
It's fine. It's fine. This is normal. Yeah, so Ari, you know how I've said if you show up at my house, you can be on the podcast, and then immediately afterward decided that wasn't a great thing to say. But if I think I revised it at some point and maybe didn't. If I invite you to my house and you show up, then you can be on the podcast, which I think is perfectly reasonable. Well, Ari's not at my house because there's a pandemic. Stupid pandemic.
Pandemics.
Ooh, this is exciting. Because you did that. Now we have to come up with a noise for
I get a noise?
censor you with.
I can't believe it. I'm getting a noise.
All you had to do was say that word.
I can't believe it. I didn't even think about that. Oh, that's great. I think I know what the noise will be. It could be the sound effect from like Mario Kart 64 when Yoshi throws an item. The best sound effect. Yes.
Oh man, that's really special. But anyway, I did invite Ari to my house before COVID, and he did come, but there were other people there, and we were playing board games, so it would have been a little weird if we recorded a podcast. Yeah. But in any case, this guy, he showed up to my most recent IRL tournament, and then he decided to win it. Congrats.
The last game was weird.
I mean, all the games are supposed to be weird. It's Dominion. Did you know that Dominion's broken? Every game, what you can do is overpowered.
I guess Silver's pretty powerful. You're right.
That's right. Do you have any idea how good that card is? Yeah. Did you know that Silver is a better card than Scrying Pool, which is in a 10 out of 10?
What?
That's a great segue into this kingdom we talked about at the end of last episode, and we played some games with.
Oh, yes, that was a great kingdom. I love that kingdom.
Do you want to read the cards in that kingdom?
Yes, I do. In this kingdom, well, am I doing cost order or like what? You
do you, man. This is okay. This is your chance to shine.
Yes. Oh, this is so great. I've listened to this hundreds of times. I've heard the kingdom is this. Now I get to do it myself. This is so lit.
Yeah, I remember when you came to the tournament and you were like fangirling super hard.
No, I was fanboying. Please, let's get the gender accurate.
Okay, sorry, I fangirl, but I understand if you wanted to fan. But like, I remember the first thing you said to me. You said, "Is this the legendary Adam Horton?" And and everyone around me was like, they were doing the nose pinch, and they were like, "Oh my god, don't stroke his ego." And I'm like, I love it when my ego is stroked. It was amazing. Well, please never change.
It, so. You absolutely deserved it. Yeah, that is also contributing to said nerves. All right, Kingdom.
He's so good. Yeah, Kingdom. What's going on here?
We have the Scrying Pool. We have Experiment. We have Harbinger. We have Masquerade. We have Masterpiece. We have Night Watchman. We have Mill. We have Smithy. We have Berge. And we have Highway. Repeating that for everyone that might... Oh, no, hold on. Back up. We got 2 projects. Sewers and Crop Rotation. Repeating for those of you that don't get to see the kingdom live, like me, who bikes up the hill listening to this and can't see it, so I really appreciate it. We have Scrying Pool, Experiment, Harbinger, Masquerade, Masterpiece, Night Watchman, Mill, Smithy, Barge, Highway, and 2 projects, Sewers and Crop Rotation. I'm so hyped.
How do you feel? Does it feel good? Do you need
Yes.
a cigarette?
This is better than drugs if I knew what drugs were.
Look, I am currently on drugs. Like,
No.
it's going directly into my arm. I have this little pack that I carry with me 24/7. And, like, it's been 2 weeks, 2 more weeks. Like, I am currently on drugs, and trust me, drugs suck. Okay?
Okay, then a low bar to clear. Definitely better than drugs.
Definitely better than drugs. Yeah, so last time, the episode was about Scrying Pool. And Wandering Winder and I were doing that episode. I said, I'm pretty sure Scrying Pool is good here. The attack is underestimatable. And that's what I would do. And, you know, we talked about some other money alternatives. Wandering Winder really likes Crop Rotation, but he was still waffling. He said it was pretty close between that and Scrying Pool. But he said Crop Rotation's great. He would aim for early Crop Rot and just do, like, draw with Masterpiece and money, which is pretty stinking great. What did you think of this kingdom, Ari?
Well, when I first heard of this kingdom, I was thinking about the whole buy situation. Specifically how barge is your only plus buy and you got no villages / any other way to play more than 1 barge. So I was thinking, okay, Scrying Pool's best friend is plus buy. Let's you get the more Scrying Pools, let's get stuff with the drawing infinite cards, and there's just not enough of that. So I was wondering, is there an alternative? And like there totally is. Crop Rotation barge, amazing combination for just quick snappy greening. And I was thinking Scrying Pool might be skippable, or even if you do it, you don't want to build up too much. You might delay potion, as mentioned in the first episode, and most of that was anything even touching Scrying Pool ended up. Well, I probably shouldn't cut to strictly my thoughts. I was thinking, okay, probably just something barge and lots of money. I didn't consider Masterpiece. That was dumb. I thought Masterpiece was just bad because I feel like Masterpiece is always bad. And I was like, you kind of want to be like slightly thinner, like get golds, but like that was very dumb. And ultimately, it was barge, Masterpiece, Masquerade, money.
Yeah, so we played some games with this, and it turns out Scrying Pool loses to that deck, and it's somewhat convincing. And so when I'm all like, hey, Scrying Pool is great, and it turns out not to be great, you know, I took a look at my assessment, like where I thought things were and where it was different, and I think it's educational, and it even is about Scrying Pool. Imagine that. But I think the biggest thing is that I have an issue with underestimating the attack on Scrying Pool. And if that attack was relevant, then I feel like Scrying Pool would have been pretty good here.
It might have, but like my deck was 80%. Your deck is 80% silver if you're going the Masterpiece route. That's not a huge deal.
Yeah, and so like the type of attack that Scrying Pool is, the deck inspection attack, like that's very effective when the difference between like the good cards and the bad cards in your opponent's deck is large. Because you can stick them with a bad card, and that's really bad. And you can skip their good cards, and that's also really bad.
Right, but discarding 7 silvers to leave a Masterpiece on top of the deck isn't that sad.
Yeah, so like the best card in your deck is silver, or maybe barge or something.
Yeah.
But like those are the best cards. But then like what's the worst card in your deck? Estate or Province, right?
Right.
But how bad is that? Because you've got Crop Rotation, right?
Yeah. Or
so, like,
the occasional mill.
Yeah, so like it really doesn't make that much of a difference. Like I would play 6 Scrying Pools. I would skip like a Province hand and like another silver, and it just wouldn't matter. He would still Province every turn. Like he would start Provincing on turn 7 or 8, and then just Province
got like 5 by what, turn 13, 12? That was amazing.
You would have, I mean, in the good situations, you'd have 6 Provinces by that point. That's really hard to compete with, just period. That's hard to compete with anyway.
Exactly.
And the attack, the only way to slow that down here is just not effective.
Right.
So yeah, that turned out to be really stinking good.
Right. And both strategies liked opening Masquerade, which, although it's not as important for the money strategy because you're going to be getting crop rotation, but trashing just an estate and a copper at the start is, and getting to barge, hopefully, with your +2 cards, and you're ending up card neutral, it's nice, it's convenient. It's better than opening silver, in my humble opinion. So that does matter, but, like, obviously you're trashing everything if you're going for Scrying Pool. Either way, Masquerade's great, like, but that's not a surprise.
Sure, Masquerade's a good card. Wandering Winder had talked about a couple of openings that are, something other than Masquerade Silver on the last episode.
I didn't like those.
They were directed at like hitting an early crop rotation, like turn 3 or turn 4 crop rotation. So like Mill Experiment and Smithy Silver, and while these may have a higher chance of hitting an early crop rotation, first of all, when you don't hit the early crop rotation, they kind of stink.
Absolutely.
But also, like, even if you do, it's still like, it's kind of not really that much better, or is it even better at all?
It's not even better. Yeah, like
Masquerade.
If you Masquerade, you trash 2 estates in the first 2 shovels. Let's say you get crop rotation, and like 2 of those estates were actually, well, I don't know, turn into a lab, whatever bad metaphor you want to use. Like, it's maybe barely better, but then you start not drawing the estates every turn, and then it was better to have trashed the coppers or estates with your Masquerade, and it's better, safer. Masquerade's just better.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially the part where you were talking about bad metaphors. That made me really happy. Thanks for saying what we were all thinking.
Yes, because playing a Masquerade is gaining a lab.
Yes. Playing a Masquerade is just like gaining a lab. Oh, that's really good. So we played some games with this. They've been recorded earlier today, the day we're recording this. I published them on the YouTube channel. You may have watched them already. It was a good time. You can do that. And then, that was pretty sweet. Did
Absolutely.
You have anything else to say about this kingdom?
The highway kind of helps Scrying Pool, but again, the sad amount of buys killed it. It was very sad. I wouldn't, and those cards were irrelevant.
Yeah, highway is like cantrip $2. It's like an activated conspirator,
which is a great card, especially with plus buy.
Well, yeah, sure. I was hoping to like make a much worse metaphor, but.
What, like, say it's a grand market, but you -1 buy instead, or what?
Yeah, and you can also use coppers to buy it,
yes.
And then also it doesn't cost as much.
Right.
Yeah, it's just like that.
But it gives you a -buy token.
Yes. It's like a grand market that gives you a -buy token. It's really good.
Yes.
And also, it doesn't work unless you use both buys in your turn after the -buy token. So it's a lot worse.
Right.
Yeah. So this is the kind of hard-hitting insight that you're already listening to Making Luck for. So I think Ari, I think you're doing a great job so far.
Thank you so much. It's very reassuring.
Yeah. All right. So Ari, what's your favorite Dominion card?
Well, my favorite Dominion card, because it's the best card, is Tactician. It's the best in all the ways. It's got the best color. It's got the best hat. It's got the fun effect. It's got the best price point. It's just the best, hands down.
Wow. It's the best card, huh?
Yes. Now, I'm not saying the most powerful. But
up until Menagerie, I would have agreed with you, but I sort of have
a certain other 5-coin duration that makes your next turn way better, but doesn't have a hat.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta tell you, the luxurious hair on whoever's in that artwork is something that I strive for, and something that I currently don't have.
Yeah, I don't know, man. You seem to be turning to the hat side. No offense.
That is depressingly true.
But seriously, even if you don't have luxurious hairs, hats are just. Even if you do have luxurious hairs, hats are the best. Every time I watch a movie and I see the hat of the Tactician, I'm like the guy, and I'm like Leonardo DiCaprio in that meme where he's got the bottle, he's like pointing at the TV. That's me. Every time I see that hat, it's the best hat. It's amazing. Best
so
card.
it's really the hat, right? Do
Well,
you
the
own a
may have
hat
something
like
to do
that?
with it. I considered acquiring one like that, but like to get there's either costume hats for pirates or like $300 commission someone to make you a hat, and like there's no in between. So I
Okay.
can't hard to
Sounds like
justify that.
sounds like you need to start saving your pennies for a $300 hat. That's what I'm hearing.
Well, I want to do that maybe after I buy a college education.
Maybe like start a GoFundMe or something. I know how you
Yes.
can get more likes on Facebook. That'll help. Okay? Just saying.
Maybe, yes. Maybe I'll intentionally irradiate myself and then get the hat. It's a great
I
move.
have never been irradiated.
Well, I mean that's one of the leading causes of for I'm not a health expert. Don't take any of my advice ever. And
I wonder. I kind of wonder if there's like radon or something in this basement. I don't know.
Oh, that would suck.
It would be really unfortunate. We'd have to like spend $100 and get a pipe instead. Anyway, so Tactician.
Right.
It's a card. It's
Yes.
the card that we're going to spend this episode talking about.
Mhm.
And it's the second best card in Dominion.
Right. Wait, what? Second best? I'm confused.
Yes, okay, that was the point. Why don't you read the text on this bad boy?
I have it down by heart, so I don't even have to pull it up. All right.
Sure.
So, are we doing first edition or second edition?
Whatever I'm looking at, which is on Shuffle It, so probably the most recent.
All right. So, second edition is going to be if you have any cards in your hand, discard your hand, and at the start of your next turn, plus 5 cards, plus 1 action, and plus 1 buy.
That was pretty close.
Oh, was that not perfect?
If you have at least one card in hand.
Oh,
You said any cards in hand.
It's a functionally equivalent. That's the same
I know.
card. Unlike first edition, which was very slightly differently worded.
Oh, how so?
Well, in that one, it said discard your hand, and if you discarded any cards in this way at the start of your next turn, plus 5 cards, plus 1 action, and plus 1 buy.
Ooh, see, this is much better because now you only have to discard your hand if you had cards in your hand,
Right.
which is strictly better.
Exactly. Because like if you dropped a vent in your hand or something, you don't actually have to discard it.
Right, it's a card-shaped object.
Exactly.
And-
Not a card, so you don't discard
And
it.
also, like, if you had like a snack in one hand, like you would have to discard that snack, and who wants to do that?
Yes, it's never fun. So lose your snacks,
love-
Tactician.
I love snacks. I've got some taco-flavored Doritos that I do not want to get rid of.
Doritos in the shape of his hat.
Oh, snap. That's so good.
Best chips.
Yeah, Tactician. It costs 5, by the way. It's from the
Right.
Seaside expansion.
Yeah, it's the best
an
price
action
point.
duration. Yeah, actually, I was thinking 5.5 might be the best price point, but I'm willing to be. I'm
If
willing
there
to
was a
change my
card
mind.
there, it would probably be the best price point, yes, but there's not.
All right, new card idea.
Yes, it costs 5.5 coin. Brilliant.
It's kind of like Destrier if you have 2 buys, right? Anyway.
Yes. But actually,
Oh yeah,
no.
we're just gonna have all the bad metaphors, aren't we?
Yes, I love bad metaphors. I'm a bad metaphor connoisseur. Like, I get out the vintage bad metaphors. This one's back in 2010 where we compared Chapel to playing a Chapel to gaining 4 labs. and I pour them a
Brutal.
drink of...
Absolutely brutal. Yeah, so this card, you play it, and the premise is like you give up your turn, right?
Right.
And then you have a super turn next turn, right?
Right, a super fun turn. That's another reason why it's the best card, because the Tactician turn is always fun, unless there's like 7 curses, but that's your fault.
I
not
can
Tactician's
think
fault.
of a recent Tactician turn I had that was not fun, and I complained vociferously about.
Well, it's because you don't respect the best card of the game. You think it's a completely different card, which is also fun, but not as fun.
Yeah, you're probably
Gotta-
right. I didn't
gotta
think of it that way.
Believe in the heart of the cards if you want to win.
All right, fine. All right, this is why Ari's on the podcast. Yeah, so the super bonus is on the next turn. It's conditional, right? You have to discard at least one card in order to get them. And so if you
Yes.
don't, then like the Tactician isn't going to stay out and you don't get anything next turn, and
Right.
then your opponent laughs at you.
Right. So
Yeah,
4
so,
festivals and a Tactician. You play 3 festivals. You play a Tactician. You don't get to play the last festival because if you do, admittedly, you get a province, but the Tactician does nothing. So
there you go. Look at that. It's already those difficult decisions.
yes, I love those decisions. Now that's just pretty easy, but we'll talk about the harder ones later.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, like if you like throne room a Tactician, maybe the first one would work, but it's unlikely that the second one is going to work because you've already discarded your hand.
With some rare exceptions.
Oh yeah, I mean, of course we're going to talk about that. Who do you think we are? Yeah, so I think, in my mind, I think the biggest thing that draws me to Tactician, you see what I did there, is the draw. Yes! 5 cards at the start of your turn. There's so many cards, and I think like when I'm looking at Tactician, cards. Yeah, it's like 55 cards. When I'm looking at Tactician, I'm deciding if I want to put this in my deck or not. I'm thinking about, do I want 5 cards at the start of my next turn? That's like the
Which
first
is always
thing that comes
yes.
to my mind.
You never don't want 5 cards. Like with, obviously some trigger reshuffles, but it's always yes. You always want that.
I love cards.
Yes.
Put them all in my face, and by my face, I mean in my hand.
Yes.
And then I can
put
them
face
into my
on your hand, and then it's identical. It's
and then put all of that together into the play area, so you like smash your face into the table with cards all over it. That's how you win at Dominion.
Yeah.
Because then your opponent is like, dude, what is wrong with this guy?
Then he resigns because he's creeped out, and then you win.
Yeah, this is great. Everything is great.
Epic strategy.
Yeah, but like Tactician is a village, right? I mean, it gives you an extra action.
It is a village in the loose sense that it allows you to play more than one terminal on your turn, but like same thing with the action and the buy, they are strictly limited. Like if village is on the board, you can buy another village if you need more actions. If Tactician's on the board, you can buy another one, and this does work with buys, sort of, but not so much with actions. You're not going to get more actions than 2 with Tactician.
Yeah, you're going to need like some other village.
Correct. And you're going to need some other of mostly everything. Tactician augments everything. It makes everything work better, but there has to be something to work better, because like you draw 7 coppers, 3 estates, big deal. Well, now what?
Hey, dude, I love coppers. Estates are dumb, but coppers are okay.
Right.
They're like almost as good as silver, and we've talked about how overpowered that card is.
Of course.
11 out of 10.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think I think there are really 2 ways that you can use Tactician, and they've been called single Tactician and double Tactician. Yeah.
Or double tack for short.
Oh yeah. So let's talk about those.
Right.
You want to start with single Tactician?
Yeah, single Tactician is the strategy where you only get... Well, actually, you can get as many as you want, but you usually only play them on alternating turns. You can play a Tactician, reap a nice, awesome Tactician turn, and then hopefully, if you get lucky, you draw the next one. Scheme can help with this, but I digress. And then you play it, and you basically flip-flop your turns from crap to fantastic to crap to fantastic, and that exemplifies the Dominion principle that a fantastic turn and a crap turn together, so the sum is greater than 2 mediocre turns. So you consolidate your epicness onto one turn where it's more useful as compared to not. That's the basic goal of the single Tactician strategy.
Yeah, so like when the turn you play the Tactician, you're effectively just giving up that turn, right?
Yeah.
You don't really expect to be able to do all that much on that turn other than buy a copper, which, no, don't do that.
With rare exceptions.
Of course. But yeah, like I would rather hit 8 and 0, or I guess 0 then 8. I would rather do that than hit 4 and 4 a lot of the time, right?
Right.
Because hitting 8 is how you win Dominion.
And even if you hit 8 and want 4 and 4, the plus buy lets you have 4 and 4, so like you get it anyways.
Yeah, like you're doing okay. It's just that now you have these other options that you might not have had without Tactician.
Right.
But if I am hitting 0 then 16 rather than 8 and 8, or if I wanted the 4 and 4, then the Tactician didn't really do. It didn't hurt, but it didn't really do all that much for me.
Right. So that's a good way of thinking about it. The money is static. Like you have 16 in 2 hands. You're going to have 8 and 8 or 16 and 0. But if the money isn't static, if the Tactician is more than doubling it, like the Tactician can help your turn kick off. If you draw a Conspirator and then nothing else, like that, it's dumb. But then Workers Village, Conspirator, you just boom, explode. The difference between 0 and the difference between 4 and 4 versus 0 and 8 versus 4 and 4 and 0 and 30, massive. So if Tactician lets you get exponentially more coin, then that can be great.
Okay, I just want to point out that I'm offended because you chose a big number and you chose 30. Why did you not choose 55?
Because 55 is
Yeah, you have no excuse. I am offended. It's okay. You can still be on the podcast.
Thank you. I'm just crying in a corner now. I failed.
Yeah,
Okay.
so like, if you want to get the most out of Tactician, if you're thinking about, oh, is Tactician good for this deck? I mean, you can look at what you expect your average hand to be, and if that is like not 8, then Tactician's going to be good, right?
Right.
You would want Tactician where it's like hard to hit 8 or 11 or 14 or whatever, because
Right.
like maybe your deck control, maybe other deck control resources are crappy. Like maybe there's some junks, because not only can Tactician help you hit big price points, but it can also, you mentioned one example, but you can line up your trashers with your junks because you have a big hand.
Right, like Chapel, Copper, Silver, Gold versus Chapel, Copper, Copper, Copper. Curse. Why am I saying church? You don't trash church. And then you get to line it all up and trash it much faster.
It's okay to trash the church.
Buy church, trash it with Chapel. Yes. Now I want someone to envision a scenario where that's actually good. I'm sure someone is doing that right now. They're writing it down. They're about to send it in the comments. Yes. And they're going to shove it in our faces and laugh. But yeah.
Leave a comment in the comments section. And please, shove it in our faces and laugh.
Besides Tomb, because that's overdone.
Yeah, but like the church could have been anything. So like, yeah,
exactly.
We want something more.
Yes.
Yeah, make us really, really shove it in our faces. Okay?
Yes.
That's right. Or for example, like if your deck has a lot of green in it and you want to close out the game.
Yeah.
If you've already got like 4 or 5 provinces and you're looking at $5 and it's like, well, I don't need a duchy, I want to empty the provinces. Tactician is really great in these situations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's fun. Like it's so fun to be stuck with 5 provinces and then you can't do anything else except like get a duchy. But then Tactician, he's just there and he's like, oh, this game isn't fun. Let me make it fun. It's fun. That's why it's the best card.
It's actually like solid. I really like the way you put that.
Thank you.
No problem, man. I think another use for like, the single Tactician kind of play where like I'm going to give up my turn now to get a double turn, a really good turn next turn is like, and this is a lot more narrow, but like if you want to hit price points early that are big, Tactician can certainly help get you there. I mean,
absolutely.
We've been talking about hitting 8 for province because like that's something you do every game and it's expensive, right? But like I'm thinking of the case where I sort of crap on opening with orange cards, and opening Tactician isn't the sexiest thing ever, but
no.
If there's like a 6 or a 7 that I'm really interested in early, so I'm looking at Forge basically, but like also Inheritances, it's a really good one. Then I mean, let me open with that Tactician all day, or like let me pick it up on turn 3 if I think that's the best way. And then also like with Forge, then you can have this big hand and forge a bunch of cards all at once, so like there's extra synergy there.
Epic synergy.
With cost reduction, you can inherit Tactician and then prince it. And no, don't do that. But I was actually looking through like most, like the Dominion cards to find other examples of this, and it turns out that like Forge and Inheritance are almost it. I mean, maybe you can justify King's Court here.
Well, the issue with that is like if you buy a Tactician and then some sort of money, and then you play it, and then you have the 7, you buy the King's Court. What's in your deck? A King's Court and a Tactician. Like, now what?
Sure, I think the King's Court scenario is a lot more narrow.
Yeah,
for sure. But it helps you avoid those hands where you draw King's Courts and no actions to King, if that's something that you're worried about. If maybe the thinning isn't so great, so like there is some synergy there, and maybe you're going to have trouble spiking your first King's Court. So, like, sure, it could be reasonable.
Right. Don't try this with spiking 5, because if you can buy a Tactician, you can buy the Fiber.
Yes, that is good advice.
Yeah, best price point, but lots of other cards there too, so don't neglect them. You can't just always go for Tactician, which is another reason why it's so great. You can't just always buy it. It's not your first 5 every time, like MOUNTEBANK or something. It's
or
you gotta think.
or whatever.
Objection. Mastermind is not my first 5 most games.
Why not?
Because I want another 5 to Mastermind.
Why do you want a 5 to Mastermind? Mastermind works on any action card, brah.
Well, yes, but let's think about, like, what would I rather Mastermind? A ruined village or a bazaar? Like, big difference.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Okay.
This is never gonna get old.
No.
So,
but yeah, Mastermind doesn't really have. I know you're like pitting Mastermind and Tactician against each other for best card, but I think the real rival of Tactician is Scholar.
Okay, why is that?
Well, they're both fivers. They're both really smart. They're both sitting there at the table looking at their thingies. They both discard your hand for massive benefit, and they're both actions.
Okay. Oh yeah. There's like hardly any actions in Dominion, so that's really yeah.
Although Tactician is still better because of the hat, but I digress.
Right. It's also a better color.
Well, yeah.
That sounds racist, doesn't it?
Yeah, I
That's
guess.
That's not what I meant.
But
yeah, I just don't like orange cards. I'm just kidding.
I can't say anything bad about night cards. Thanks a lot. I can't crap on Night Watchman.
So, moving on. Do you have anything else to say about Single Tactician?
Yes. So one of the big reasons I was super hyped to get on this podcast was to ask, in my opinion, one of the masters, what is some of the most important strategical considerations you want to make when you're playing with the Single Tactician? So I saw a meme in the meme thingy about when you had a Tactician and 7 coin, and it's not virtual coin, it's the regular coin. It's like the gold. You gotta put it on the table if you want it. You're not gonna do that if you have a Tactician. So you got your Tactician, you got your money. You're thinking, what do I do? So obviously you want to listen to the end game.
Wish you got a silver. Oh wait, no.
So obviously you can go to the end game episode of the podcast, which is an amazing episode. Highly recommend. One of the better ones for general Dominion strategy. You can go there and you can realize, okay, do I want 5 now? Do I want a duchy now, or do I want a province later? So those are the more basic considerations. But when you're looking at a Tactician and you've got a relatively good hand with it, 5, 6, 7 coin, not 8, you're probably getting the province. But when you have your Tactician, and it's later in the game, the things I'll be considering are usually, can I make something crazy happen on the next turn, like start governing golds in a province or something, or have enough money for a province and a duchy, or will the duchy now be helping more? I want to. I'm trying to teach critical thinking in one paragraph. I can't really do that.
I hate critical thinking.
Okay, let's get to the next point. So, the one cool thing that I like about Single Tactician is that when other cards let you manipulate the timing of pain or benefits, you can shuffle all your suffering onto your Tactician turn and get all your good stuff onto the future turn. Like, if you've got an Outpost turn, that's just 3 cards. That's sad. Usually you're not able to do much with an Outpost turn, but then you play a Tactician and suddenly you paid the 1-turn penalty of Tactician and your next turn is amazingly boosted for it. You paid very little, you paid 2 cards, and then suddenly your turn is fantastic. Or what if you only have 2 cards in your hand because you played a Secret Cave or something? You discarded all your cards. Next turn's going to be great, obviously, but what do you do with this turn? Tactician, his price tag is literally just 1 turn. He does not care how epic or how sad that turn was going to be. So if you can shuffle all your sadness onto your Tactician turn, like with Secret Passage, sticking all your bad cards on your deck, or like you borrowed last turn and now this turn only has 4 cards, the Tactician's price does not change based on how good the turn was. So this is especially good. This is especially well illustrated with Barge and Village Green. So Village Green, you can discard its Tactician for the reaction, woo. But more importantly,
Nice.
you can play the Village Green for next turn, assuming you already had villages, and then Tactician. Another thing Single Tactician really likes is coin tokens. So coin tokens are already virtual payload, which Tactician likes, and Double Tactician especially likes, as we'll talk about soon. But the coin tokens work even with the Single Tactician as well. Like, if you've got a Tactician and a Candlestick Maker, you can play the Candlestick Maker and the Tactician, and suddenly the Tactician, well, it does everything it was doing, but you got an extra coin for next turn. So that's lit. And then you got your coin token, like if Tactician hits 50... what, pardon?
Did you just say that the candlestick maker was lit?
Yes, I did. That was
Okay, thank
entirely
you.
intentional.
Just wanna stop for a minute and appreciate that. Now, please continue.
So you can play your candlestick makers, your patrons, your anything that's tokens, and those get preserved from one turn to the next turn. But that's that's I don't want to say double-edged sword because like it's not bad for you. There's a twofold benefit there. One, you get to save things from the turn that you play Tactician, and two, you get to put it onto either the Tactician turn or normal turn. Like if your Tactician turn is 15 coin token, boom, it's 16 double province. Or your normal turn where you're not playing a Tactician because you're only doing a single Tactician, you don't play it. You have like 7. You get to save the coin token from the turn you played the Tactician where you drew 55 cards and were able to do whatever you wanted. And then that turn also becomes a province turn. The Tactician is letting you move stuff around, move pain and benefit around, and the coin token just exponentially increases that ability. And in my opinion, makes it even better.
Yeah, so like in the case of coin tokens, it seems like, you have this big hand, so it's more likely that you're able to more effectively use the coin tokens that you have.
Right.
So whether that's because you drew them with the Tactician and, well, this turn sucks and I have coin tokens to save, or you drew them, on your big turn, that means, you can allocate them more efficiently.
Right.
As opposed to, like, I'm looking at $6 and I have 2 coin tokens and I'm going to wonder, like, am I going to hit 7 twice this shuffle? Or, am I going to spend them both now and now I get my province now? Well, you have all your turns at once and you can just kind of shove it all together and now you're more efficient that way.
Right. This also kind of sort of works with horses. If you, let's say you've got a Tactician turn, you got 10 cards, you got all the actions of the world, like playing a sleigh, well, on a normal turn that demotes it from 5 cards to 4 cards, like you got minion, like that's really bad. You're going from 10 to 9 cards. That's not that painful. Instead of going from 1 action to 0 actions, you're going from 2 to 1. Not as painful. So playing the sleigh on your Tactician turn is not a huge deal. You're probably still going to easily crack province, and you got 2 horses for your next turn. So next turn's going to be a 7-card hand. Then you had a epic province hand and probably another province hand. Or you can play the horses on the turn that you're going to play the Tactician. Like if you somehow got plus actions somewhere, you play a sleigh, you play a Tactician. Boom, your Tactician turn is even more busted. You're probably double provincing. So mainly the horse is letting you shuffle around when you're going to get the good stuff. Like you can get the horse whenever you can play the horse whenever you want. So that lets you augment whichever turns is most beneficial for that. And Tactician makes that a lot more obvious which turns are nice for that. So it doesn't hurt as much to gain horses on a Tactician turn, and it's really beneficial to gain horses on a turn where you play the Tactician and sacrifice a turn. So that's all really sweet.
Yeah, I think my favorite part about that is like, the difference between 10 and 8 is much smaller than the difference between 5 and 3, right?
Right.
I mean, it's 2, right? But
right.
I'm talking about not additively, but multiplicatively, right?
Right.
8 is still most of 10, but 3 is like not most of 5, right? So,
right.
So like if you got hit by a militia, who cares, right? I have 0-card hands and I have 10-card hands. I don't have 5-card hands anymore. So if I get hit militia by every turn, like I just super don't care when I'm
which is irrelevant.
Like Tactician is like it's like a soft defense to something like militia. And it also helps you play militia a lot because
well, every other turn if you're single Tacticianing, it's really good at double tack, but we'll talk to that soon.
Well, it does help you play militia more often because you do churn through your deck a little bit faster, I guess, but really that's not super important.
Yeah, Tactician is minor cycling. You shuffle faster when you play Tacticians, even if your turns aren't that. Well, if you're not actually having all those turns that you would have had in your deck.
Yeah, it's you always have these situations where you're thinking about putting Tactician in your deck, and then like you draw those awkward hands that are like, the Tactician and the $7, even Tactician and $8, and it's like, well, this feels bad. Tactician was stupid here. Like I have all my good cards and I have to get rid of them. And just to realize that that's like, sure, I mean that can happen sometimes, but it's much less likely because if I'm looking at 3 turns or like 15 cards together, I have Tactician and 4 cards that I can't play. And then I have 10 cards that I can play, and then they're better because they're all together, right?
Right.
In fact, that's really a good metaphor for life, right? We're better when we're all together.
That's probably true of your finances, not so much the people, but yeah, I agree.
Well, I mean, we're all in this together. The COVID, it's like if everyone wears them. Never mind.
Well, yeah, if everyone gets together and it gets exponentially worse, but
No. We don't. When we all get together, we don't sneeze on each other. Hopefully,
well,
either that or like it's over Zoom or something. So
I
you
guess
can
like if
sneeze and
it's
then...
kind of sort of getting together, like not really getting together, kind of like virtual money that's not actually money but still money,
Oh,
which
you
is
mean
really
like a
good with.
virtual gathering? Virtual, yeah?
Yes, it's like a virtual payload, which is really good with our next strategy, which we'll be discussing, double tactician.
Oh, that
Yes,
was
the
so good.
segue.
Oh, that was so
Woo!
good.
Brought it back.
All right.
Yes.
That was amazing.
Okay, so double tactician. With single tactician, you're playing it, you lose your turn, but next turn's great. Double tactician, you're playing it, you lose your turn, but that's the only turn you ever lose. You never lose a turn again, because every turn for the rest of the game, your goal is to playing another tactician. But Ari, you're probably asking, what am I going to do for money? I don't have any money. I just discarded my treasures.
What am I going to do for money? I'm discarding all of my treasures.
Exactly, fair viewer. And that is exactly what I want to address next. Because virtual money, it's like money, but virtual. And that means you get to play it in your action phase. So imagine this. You got 10 cards. 4 of them are festivals. You play all those festivals, and then you play a tactician. Sure, you didn't get to play any of your golds. Why'd you buy them? But you didn't get to play them. But you still have a coin. So not only did you play a tactician, the next turn is going to be amazing, you still buy a province. And it's amazing. And then you play your tactician, you play your virtual money next turn, you play your tactician, you buy your thing, next turn's busted, and rinse and repeat until you win.
Okay, well, I just want to, if you're playing with my Dominion set, please don't rinse my Dominion cards.
What, you don't sleeve them?
Appreciate it if you. I mean, I do, but please don't rinse them.
You didn't get the waterproof sleeves? Wow, what a peasant.
I mean, I have them, but like, have you ever like spilled something? Like, have you ever spilled water on sleeved Dominion cards?
No, I don't let water go within 500 feet of my Dominion cards, but...
Oh, well, I mean, it's fine. Like, usually the sleeves are fine and the cards are fine, but, like, it's still a huge pain to clean up.
Well, that's true of water in general. Speaking of...
I hate water. Ooh, yeah, let's all have a drink of water. Remember, if you're listening to this podcast while driving, please make sure you're wearing your seatbelt. And also make sure to drink water, because that's good for you.
Yes. Making luck with the good life advice.
That's right. I mean, Dominion is basically life.
Yeah, so we're giving Dominion advice, life advice, close enough.
So yeah, I mean, it's the same advice when it comes down to it. So yeah, the double tactician, you have 2 tacticians, right? You have to have one in duration land at the start of your turn and another one to play. So you need at least 2 tacticians in your deck in order to do this. Of course, you're allowed to have more, just you need at least 2.
Why?
Well, there's decent reasons to add a 3rd tactician into a deck. I would say the main reason...
I'm going to argue with you right there because, like, if you need a 3rd tactician, that means you're not sure you're drawing your 2nd tactician every time. If you're doing that, you don't have, like, any deck control ever. Like, you're not thinning at all. You're not putting any, like, smoothies and villages in the deck. Like, what are you...
Oh, I disagree with that.
Hold So, if you can stick smoothies and villages in your deck and you're doing double tactician, how are you not drawing deck?
Okay, so there's... This is going to blow your mind, bro. So, like... Let's say I have a deck of 20 cards.
Right.
I can either draw 5 of them at the start of my turn and nothing else, or I could draw 20 of them, or maybe more.
Right, which you're doing if you're sticking the Smithy Village in your deck, which is what I thought.
Well, whatever. However you choose to draw those cards. Let's say that, but then there's like 55 numbers in between there, and I could draw any one of those numbers of cards, And if I'm doing double tactician, if I'm starting my hand with, 10 cards, and maybe I'm not going to draw every single card in my deck, but I still want to have, like, 5 cards and an extra action to buy at the start of every turn, then, like, if I'm not drawing absolutely everything on every single turn, then I need to think about, like, either make it so that I'm definitely doing that at the cost of getting more payload, probably, or just put a 3rd tactician in the deck and then just shore up that chance that I miss my other tactician, I'm still going to get those benefits.
That's all fair, but if you're not able to draw a deck, I'd give the single tack, maybe with 2 tacticians, but the single tack a second look. Because, like, if your deck control's that poor, you're not trashing that much. You got a lot of coppers, maybe you're playing them, and, like, you can only do that. You just want to play them going with the single tack strat. So, if you can't draw a deck, I'd give for single tactician a second look. Even if virtual payload's still a thing. Like, maybe you could do the virtual payload single tactician. I know it sounds weird, but, like, it is an option, and consider it.
So that seems to me like a decision that I don't actually have to make when I'm looking at a kingdom or even building my deck. That sounds to me like a decision that I'm making as I'm playing the deck, and then it's like I have my tactician turn. Did I find a tactician?
Another
Yes.
reason
Well,
tactician
then
is
maybe
the
I
best card
consider
because
playing
you can change your decision making strategy with it on the fly.
Oh yeah.
Not many cards do that. Like now I can just play it. Kingscourt, you just play it. You tactician
Yeah.
gotta think.
Kingscourt is stupid.
Yes,
Yeah.
I prefer Throne Room personally. I feel it's more fun. Like it lets you do crazy stuff, but it's not that busted.
Yeah, and the artwork is way cooler too.
I strongly disagree there. Kingscourt's artwork is amazing. You got the greens, you got the reds. Throne Room's just got the reds.
Okay, well you heard it here first.
Christmas Kingscourt.
I'm sorry. As we're recording this, it's very shortly before Halloween, and I'm just going to put a hard stop to this. Halloween is the last line of defense we have against the Christmas creep. Okay? I'm about to give up on Thanksgiving. Like, I think Thanksgiving has fallen officially. Like, I fought until I got married that, you know, the Christmas tree will go up in December, and now the Christmas tree, it used to go up the day after Thanksgiving. And then it went up the day of Thanksgiving, and now, like, whatever. November 1st, I don't really give a crap. Like, you do what you want, wife. Like, Thanksgiving has fallen, and Halloween is commercialized enough. I think Halloween might hold, okay? But don't you Hobby Lobby this on me, brah. Like, don't you be putting Christmas trees up in July. That's not how this works, okay?
I hardly agree with your passionate rant.
Sorry, you awakened something inside of me that just needed to get out.
Yes, I agree with everything you said. Although there is the big brain move of just not getting a Christmas tree, and then you don't have to deal with any of that crap.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be in the hospital on Christmas. Like, this is not my decision.
Oh, the biggest brain move of all time.
Yes, this was a big brain move. It was done on purpose just to stick it to the Christmas creep and my wife for some reason because I wanted to. So anyway, you were talking about virtual money. I want to sort of broaden our horizons because, like, I think there was a concept we talked about in the Minion episode that, you know, it's virtual payload.
Right.
And, you know, virtual money is certainly part of virtual payload, but let's open our minds to, like, other forms of payload that happen in your action phase.
Yeah,
right?
like trashing. Well, I mean trashing for benefit. Then it's not apprentice. Like,
well, even just trashing, right? If I have bad cards in my deck, if I play a tactician, now I have a 10-card hand, and I chapel 4 curses and play another tactician, like, that sounds like a complete success of a turn to me. Like, I'm very happy.
Absolutely, but why do you have 4 curses?
Because some jerk is giving me curses.
It's a 4-player game with Ziag. There we
Coven.
go.
I don't know. Like, I just got like 12 curses with Coven.
Well, that'd be a sad 3-player game.
Right, 3-player games with junking attacks can get a little messy. But, like, hey, I mean, that sounds like a completely successful turn. Really, anything that happens in your action phase that you're happy enough, like, that's something you can do with double tactician. Now, that's not sustainable, and that's not going to win you the game, obviously. But, like,
sure.
If you're looking for virtual payload, like, you know, you've got your remodels, you got that whole family of cards. Those can gain provinces, which is pretty relevant.
Absolutely.
Or, you've got,
especially
like,
with gold gainers.
Yeah, that's pretty sexy.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you play your bandit, you gain a gold, but you're never gonna play it because you remodel it right the second after, and then it's a province. Then you just gain a province in your action phase. No biggie.
Did you say bandit camp?
No, I said bandit.
Oh, okay. Because yeah, that's important. It doesn't work.
Bandit
with bandit
camp is very bad with tactician.
not good. Don't. That's no bueno. Okay, unless you have Watchtower Earth Curse.
Yes.
But anyway, like most of the time, I mean, you can say that this is just anything that isn't treasure, right? Any kind of payload that isn't treasures, or even some kinds of deck control. Like any kind of this stuff can work with double tactician, but like sometimes it can even be treasures, like black market. Woo!
Yes,
Okay, I just
the
wooed for
black
black market.
combo.
Let me just forget that. I might censor that. I
Oh
might
yeah,
cut that. Villa. Woo! We did it.
cavalry. Woo!
That's way better. Yeah. Or like I think the canonical enabler for this kind of thing is like Vault, because Tactician and Vault, you have your
Oh, two
10
peas in
card
a pod.
hand,
Yeah,
you play a Vault, and then you discard 8, and
you
then
play a tactician and then buy the
you have
province and Vault's
you
two
have
cards. Let's do that.
Tactician and cards left. Yeah, like that's great. All you need is like 2 Tacticians and a Vault, and then a way to find the card.
And some minimal
then, like,
trashing. Yes.
either that or just another Tactician and another Vault, and you should be fine.
Yeah.
And that's just fine. But also
It's
Storeroom
cool.
can get there with just like the tiniest nudge of support, or
Yeah,
like
like gaining a lab, but actually gaining a lab, not just trashing.
whoa. I thought those were exactly the same.
Surprise! Storeroom cares.
Yeah, but like if I'm thinking about, do I want to do double Tactician, or if I want to like base my whole strategy around double Tactician and getting that 5 cards and whatever else every single turn, then I need to look at how good this virtual payload is. And,
Right.
Can it gain provinces is a big measuring stick, but like if I'm just not inspired by that, then I can't play double Tactician. It just isn't really going to do much for me.
Right. Can it gain provinces is a big deal, but also can it completely crush your foe into oblivion, i.e. MOUNTEBANK or Torturer?
I don't know about you, but I live for causing pain to my opponents.
Yes. So, like, even if you can't get anything, if they're even worse off, then you can just switch into buying golds and then eventually get provinces. Like, that works.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm in. Yeah, so like I think this is double tactician, or even like single tactician, but I think double tactician is the best example of like, this is like sort of one of the more extreme versions of duration draw.
Right.
Right. I mean, I can play 3 Wharves, and like, yes, that's better, and Wharf is overpowered.
But you had to
we
play
had a
3
whole
Wharves.
episode on that.
Like, that's not
Yeah.
easy.
And we also had a whole episode about that. Hashtag
Of
link in
course.
the description.
Yes, I love that episode.
But yeah, it has like all of the synergies that Duration Draw has, and Ari mentioned a lot of that stuff with Single Tactician, and it's still good here with Double Tactician, like with Outpost. Outpost is great
Outpost,
with Duration Draw.
Yeah, you're hoping to play the Tactician on the Outpost turn, but if you play the Tactician the turn before, that works too because you get 8 cards.
Yeah, for sure. And and all the stuff that he mentioned before, the discard attacks, and then like finding your good cards that you want to play together, enabling like janky decks that need a consistency boost. Like, yeah, this is super great for that. And all you really have to do is shove 2 Tacticians in your deck and have virtual payload.
Yes.
And actually, I think a notable thing here is draw to X. Because a lot of times draw to X doesn't really play nice with other sources of draw.
Especially Duration.
Well, Duration is certainly one of them, but like not necessarily though, because like draw to X, one of the biggest issues with those decks is consistency, and the start of your turn is when you're most vulnerable to having issues with that.
Right.
So like Tactician is great here, and also draw to X decks usually want some kind of virtual payload anyway, which you also want with Tactician. So there's some good synergy here.
Yes, with one big caveat, and that's assuming trashing. Let's say you've got like 3 states and 4 coppers in your hand, and then library, like big, like, and then like you have other cards, you play them, they're great, but then like library's gonna do nothing. You need to have ways to like get your hand down to below the X so you can actually keep drawing. So like if your hand's all pawns, that's great, but you have to it's not gonna be all pawns. You're gonna draw your coppers into states unless you get rid of them. So assuming trashing, I agree with all that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's a principle of draw to X decks. That's not something unique to Tactician. That's
fair.
That's something that applies to draw to X decks. Of course, I think double Tactician is going to be a lot better if you can trash cards as well, yeah?
Yeah, always, of course, because you have 10 cards that you're doing nothing with ever if you're playing double tag. Those cards, literally nothing. Like, they're marginally useful in, like, I don't know, a counting house deck, but they're doing nothing for you right now.
Right. That's true. I mean, you're not going to be able to get that much use out of them if you're going to be playing a tactician at the end of the turn. That's for sure.
Right.
And I think that's a really, it illustrates a really good point that, like, 5 cards is a lot of cards to draw at the beginning of your turn, but
Yeah.
it's not enough to even get through all of your starting cards, right?
Correct. You'll barely draw them all, then have nothing else, and to buy a 4-coin and a 3-coiner. Like, wow, great turn. We did it.
That's just sad.
Yes.
Cry into my pillow and make sure the tears don't get on the cards or the sleeves. We've already discussed this, right?
You keep cards under your pillow?
Don't judge me. I carry my mastermind randomizer with me all the time. What do you want from me, man?
I throw all my randomizers in a box.
Oh, all the rest of my randomizers are in a box, but not mastermind, man.
Maybe I should
People,
pose
the
my
world needs to
tactician
know.
randomizer on the wall, hang it up.
Yes. You need like a 4-foot tall poster of like
Yes.
tactician.
Yes, and a few other cards like adventurer counts. Like some of those are top tier art, but tactician is definitely up there.
Yeah, but you don't need the 4-footer of those. Like, you can just like get the artwork, but tactician though, and then we'll have like a shrine dedicated to it. Yeah.
No, I was thinking the shrine would be more thematic with like cultists or something, which also has great art.
Well, I was thinking like in middle school, like if a girl had a crush on a boy, she would like decorate her locker with like really creepy pictures of the boy and like hearts, and then like practicing her signature with his last name. Is that a thing? Or was that just me who did that for?
I've never been in school. I don't know.
Okay, well, neither one of us. Leave a comment in the comments section, please. I guess the last sort of portion, yes. So like we're talking about, you still need other draw. You still need other deck control. Like,
absolutely.
Tactician doesn't. It's not an. It doesn't mean you just draw your deck, right?
Right, and again, it's non-additive. Like Village and Smithy, the more you put in, the more you're drawing. Tactician, no, it's a set 5 cards. It is very capped. Yeah. It's limited. Admittedly, it's great, but yeah.
Yeah, per turn, unless no, it's not time. And I guess I also wanted to point out. I think that there's 2 cards that have particular synergy with Tactician's form of duration draw. And that's Crossroads and Shepherd.
Yeah, they like having a big hand to start, and then they can just turn a big hand into an even bigger hand. But they can't. It's kind of hard for them to get to the big hand in the first place. But Tactician fixes that.
Yeah, like I don't really think Crossroads and Shepherd are really good forms of draw unless they're supported by other draw. And I think Tactician is like top of the list in terms of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, helps you find the cards together that you want to find together. Which Without that, start every hand. Crossroads and Shepherd are just garbage, right?
Right. Well, sometimes. We can talk about that on their own episode. Well, you can. I'm sure you did.
I think Crossroads gives you some actions, right? But like
Crossroads is solid, yes.
I guess. Fine. Whatever. So you talked a little bit about the single tactician strategy, and what about building a double tactician deck? Like we've talked a lot about what the deck looks like when we get there, but do you have anything insightful to say about how we get there?
All right, so when you're getting there, like in most strategies, you want to visualize the end first. Like, what am I ultimately doing? Am I playing 10 governors and trashing 10 goals to gain 10 provinces in this awesome 3-player game where no one else is doing anything? Or am I playing a bunch of grand markets, or what am I doing? And how do you get there? So let's assume you're just doing money. You're going to, first, I'm assuming you don't open Tactician. You're going to need a little money to get to the Tactician. Once you do that, then the Tactician and the money don't really work well together. So you do the first Tactician, then you get I don't want to say engine because that's not a real thing, but you get the Tactician, you get your payload, and then you get your second Tactician. It's kind of what tick-tack-tick. It's I mean tack-tick-tack, assuming tick means payload. So you get your first Tactician, unless you can just buy the things off the bat, like they're Conspirator and, not Conspirator, that's a bad example. If it's like Tournament, you can probably open that. But if it's not a non-terminal money that will cost less than 5, you're probably getting your Tactician first, along with a little money to get you to Tactician and to the other thing you want. And then you're getting the second Tactician and also trashing. Forgot to mention that. Start with trashing. So probably trash for silver and continue. Yeah, I didn't put that very well.
Did you just say trash your silver?
Trasher silver is the opening. Like Trasher / silver is what you are buying.
Sure. I'm in.
You know, unless you open remodel silver, in which case, definitely.
Sorry, I have trigger words, so an itchy trigger finger too. Yeah, so I think this gets better. I mean, obviously you want to do it fast, right?
Yes.
But I think it's I think this is at its best when you can buy the first Tactician as close as possible to the second Tactician.
So that's opposite of what I said.
No, not the opposite of what you said. What I'm trying to get at is you want to avoid the scenario when it's like, okay, I've played my first Tactician, and now I want to be playing a Tactician every single turn, but
right.
I don't have a second one, and that's what's stopping me. Right, that feels bad, and I don't like it. And so you don't want that to happen. So like, sure, if you have like a duplicate on your tavern mat and you get 2 Tacticians at the same time, great, more power to you.
Yeah.
But like, there's other ways. You can get them on the same shuffle, or maybe you have enough virtual payload in your deck that you can buy a Tactician number 2 on the same turn that you play Tactician number 1.
That's the dream. But you got to start with 5 cards to do that, and you're already sacrificing 1 in an action to play the Tactician, so be careful.
Sure, but like that's a reason. That's a valid reason you have for building a little bit more on the payload side before going for double Tactician, because if you can pull that off, it's very sexy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's just and I want to actually say what happens if you put yourself in that situation that I described that we didn't want. Mm-hmm. So like, I play Tactician, and now I have this great hand.
Nice.
But I don't have another Tactician to play.
Aww.
So let's say I buy some stuff, and maybe I buy Tactician number 2. Woo! So now, I'm done with that. Now I have a 5-card hand. Hopefully I drew one of my Tacticians.
But probably
and if
not.
I did, then I lose that turn, and then I'm cooking the next turn. But then, like, maybe you didn't, right? Because you only had 5 cards in your hand, and maybe you don't have complete deck control.
Right.
So if that doesn't happen, then you're just, like, sitting and spinning for another turn. So screw you, right? For absolutely no good reason. So, like, you can add, like, 3 or maybe even more additional turns of prep for, like, really very little benefit if you're not able to, like, really time this very well.
Right.
And so that's an eternity in Dominion, right? That's
of course 3 turns it's game over.
Awesome. Yeah, it's basically right. So
may as well be 55 turns.
It's basically 55 turns.
Yes.
So like in this case, adding a little bit of payload first can be very helpful, and it can make for a smoother transition. That's
definitely.
For sure.
Yeah, so you got the payload, then your Tacticians, and hopefully you're getting them closer together. Yes, that makes sense. Better than what I said. Ignore what I said. I'm just...
No, don't ignore what he said. I'm just like, you did the broad stroke. Normally I'm the broad strokes guy, but you did the broad strokes this time, and I was penciling in the little details. You know what I mean?
If you insist.
Shading,
everything I say today should be taken with a grain of salt. I am a random nobody who happened to get lucky in a tournament once, and now I'm on a podcast. Like, everything was handed to me on a silver masterpiece platter. So you should probably take Adam's word more than mine, but those are my first thoughts.
Dude, do you think I'm good at Dominion? I got some news for you. Everyone is bad at Dominion. Everyone is bad at everything.
That is true, and you can compare different levels of badness to each other, like, and then you get a comparatively good.
Just realize though that like everyone sucks at everything, and the sooner in life that you realize that, the more everything around you makes sense. I was like 33 years old when I figured that out. And Ari, you still have a lot more youth than me. You've got a nice strong back. You actually have muscles in your body. You have a bright future ahead of you, and now you have this knowledge. You're welcome, by the way.
Yes, thank you. But yeah, they'll be very useful to know, especially in college. I'll be sure to tell my professors that, see how they feel about that.
Yeah, you can, if you ever need, like, a reference for something, you can just, like, point them to this episode of the podcast.
Yes.
I, Adam Horton, endorse Ari as good for whatever he wants.
Excellent. I can now I can now try to major in world domination, and I'll have the only I'll have the only recommendation that actually applies to that major. Perfect.
Seriously, like, the world sucks. Please change it.
Yes, I will dominate it. Bring us 9 more victory points.
Yeah, I'm in. Like, yes. Just don't give me any responsibility and don't kill me, and I'm like, it's fine. We're good.
I can definitely do the first one. Not so sure about the second. Let's continue.
Well, I'll have to bribe him, but anyway, we'll talk about it later.
Of course.
I sort of want to talk about, like, maybe some anti-synergies with this double tactician, or maybe even just tactician in general.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest thing is, like, you want to play your tactician last.
What?
And that's normally not a problem, because most of the time when you play tactician, your turn is over because you've discarded your hand.
You know, barring virtual payload.
Right, but what I'm really trying to say is, like, you want to play all your other stuff first, right? You don't want to skip that. So cards that can get in the way of that, like Golem, don't put Golem and Tactician in the same deck. Don't do that.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Bad, because then you
because Golem can hit Tactician, and then your
turn's over.
Right.
Don't do that.
Same goes for Herald, and that's about it. What else plays that? Well, actually, Herald's not mandatory, but
Herald is mandatory.
Oh, it is. Oh, it is.
Which is a problem. Pretty much everything else isn't. Herald, you can kind of mitigate because, like, maybe you have like Apothecary or something. I remember I've played Herald and Tactician in the same deck once ever, and I justified it because I went for Apothecary first. And yeah, like, it was a little bit worse. You probably didn't want to be doing Apothecary and Tactician in the same deck, but like
probably not.
But I figured, I mean, there was copper trashing. It made sense at the time, and like
copper trashing and Apothecary, definitely a great combo.
Dude, it's not the worst thing ever. We have a whole episode about Apothecary, #link in the description, where we do address the nuances of copper trashing if you want a little bit more supplemental detail.
Yeah, I remember I was at Dollar Tree when I was listening to that episode, so I was a little bit swamped. But I should probably give it another listen.
Well, you were at Dollar Tree, huh?
Yeah, so I was getting some supplies.
So like the copper that gives you $1?
Yes!
And something about a tree? Dang it. Okay,
Sacred Grove, which I didn't get because it was bad, so I just did the copper.
Thank you. Thank you for bailing me out with Sacred Grove.
Perfect.
It was looking rough there. I appreciate it.
Oh, wait, no, even better. Force gift, which gave me the extra buy. I needed to buy all those things at the Dollar Tree, but also a coin.
Yeah, a dollar.
A coin.
I'm trying desperately to make this work. But it's not just like Apothecary that can help. Like if you have a scheme and you can top deck your Tactician so that it's always in your hand, then
that's
like
really
sure,
good.
you can go ahead and put Golem in that. I mean, don't, because Golem's a bad card.
Yeah.
But you can feel good about these things that dig for action cards and then make you play them, because you have only 2 Tacticians and one of them's in play and the other one is in your hand all the time. So like that's fine.
Yeah.
Just make sure you have a plan. Otherwise, don't put those cards in your. You know what I mean?
Right.
Don't Prince a Tactician. Just don't do that.
Yes. Like,
because first of all, it only works once. And second of all, you went to a lot of trouble to do this.
Yeah.
Please print something better.
Wait,
and
no,
also,
no.
why would you want to print a Tactician?
If you print 2 Tacticians, the first Tactician works. The second one doesn't, and it doesn't stay out. Letting the second Prince play the Tactician on the second turn. It does work.
Okay, it works in the sense that it does a thing.
Yes.
But that thing is bad.
Unimaginably bad.
It's really bad, okay?
Yes.
Yeah, so did you have anything else to say before we start getting weird?
All right.
It's funny because we already got weird.
Yes. I did want to mention how with the double Tactician deck, at least compared to the single Tactician, you can usually afford to build pretty big. I don't just mean like, oh, it's Workers' Village and Smithy. I can do whatever I want now because I have infinite buys and everything. It's like it's really consistent, like crazily so. Like it's resilient to greening because one province, instead of drawing a province, it nuked a fifth of your hand. It only nuked a tenth of your hand. So you can afford to eat a lot more green cards in the long run. You can come back with duchies a lot better. I generally lean towards building more if I'm running a double tactician deck, unless it's draw to X, because then the green's are gonna sink it fast. But if it's if it's regular draw, I generally lean towards building more.
Interesting. You said that draw to X will sink your green cards sink your draw to X deck.
Yeah,
fast.
assuming
And
you can't discard them, then once you have 3 provinces, your libraries are going to draw you 4 at most. You have 4 provinces, going to draw you 3 at most, and you're going to stop doing awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I agree with the sentiment of what you've said, but obviously look at the kingdom and think about what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But,
always think. Always use your noodle.
Just if I'm not that I've ever attempted this before, which I definitely have. But if I'm using merchant ship as my virtual payload, first of all,
bruh,
you really should rethink your life if you're ever getting a merchant ship. But that's gonna take a little bit longer to get to double province from single province because merchant ship is a bad card.
Correct.
Anyway.
I mean, I used to love merchant ship when I first saw it. I wanted to get Seaside, but it was out of stock, and I was staring at all the cards. Actually, I was like, "Oh, merchant ship, yeah, it's gonna be great." And then I realized Tactician was better. But I liked it once.
Wow. All right. I can't say that I've ever had any positive feelings towards merchant ship ever.
Man, you never stared wistfully off into that merchant ship sunset, just waiting for that day you get 2 free coin at the start of your next turn.
If I'm gonna stare wistfully at a Dominion card. I mean, it's Stewart, obviously. Anyway.
Stewart doesn't have that sunset, though.
I mean, there's Sea Hag, too, with the pink hair glistening in the moonlight and the purple headband.
Okay, yeah, Sea Hag is pretty, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say something, pretty cool, and then I realized that a modifier was unnecessary.
That's right. Yeah, but she's mine. You can't have her.
Fair enough. There's only one Dominion card for me, and he's a man, so I can't do anything with that.
Hey, don't judge. I won't judge you. I can have. Anyway, let's move on. So we've talked about. We've mentioned this a couple of times about
right, the
playing a tactician. Yeah, more than once in a turn, and actually getting the benefits on the next turn for multiple tacticians. And every piece of strategic advice we've given is kind of assuming that you can't do this because it's hard to do.
Because you can't. Yeah.
But did you know that this has been possible to do ever since Alchemy?
Wait, when did Alchemy come out? 2006? I can't remember.
The base game came out in 2007, so I don't think Alchemy was around in 2007.
Oh fudge! I was totally misestimating.
I think Seaside came before Alchemy, but I think it came
it was Intrigue,
right
Prosperity, Seaside, Alchemy.
Yeah, it was right before.
So it's 2011. I don't know.
Something like that.
Long time.
Yeah, it was 55 years ago.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, so you play a golem and you play and it reveals a tactician and a lab or something, and then you play the tactician, you discard some stuff, and then you play the lab, which draws tactician and another thing, and you play the other.
Play another tactician. And then your double tack is ruined because you don't have another tactician in the deck.
No, your double tack is brilliant because you're getting them both on the same turn, which is totally what you wanted, right?
Yes.
We did it.
Then you get 2 more tacticians, and you do quadruple tactician.
That's how you win Dominions.
Yes.
Quadruple tactician.
Yes, using secret passages to put them back on the deck in such a way that the golem can hit it, and yes, it's perfect.
No, dude, get a Herald. Because that's another card we want to have in our deck with Tactician.
Yes.
Yeah, so remember 10 minutes ago when I was telling you don't put Golem and Tactician in the same deck, and how this is the main way that, So that's a problem.
Right. Right.
So, and also,
it's just bad.
Yeah, also this, required a decent amount of luck. And then, what are you able to set this up with any kind of consistency? Then,
secret passage is high.
Why do you need two tacticians in play because like what other cards are so like this has some problems and it's not really practical. But I mean, first of all, welcome to Making Luck, a Dominion podcast where we talk about nothing but edge cases all the time.
the whole point of Dominion. Every game is the ultimate edge case. There will never be an edge case like any given game.
Yes. Thank you. Every game of Dominion is broken, and it's also an edge case.
So talking about edge cases is talking about the game as a whole.
Thank you. And it's talking about life, because life is an edge case.
Yes. Life is the edgiest edge case ever. Do you know the chances that Earth would have life on it? Like, wow. That's the edgiest of cases. Like, if all the other planets are debating, what's going to happen on here? We're going to have some random gases, some explosions, and then this planet was like, what if? And hold my beer. What if we had these things and they had like carbon and hydrogen and then they like listed a bunch of other elements and they walked around and they played card games with edge cases as crazy as this one. And then Dominion happened, and which is the point of life.
Yeah. And now that was beautiful. I just want you to know that. So let's talk about maybe a situation where you would actually want to do this, not just for the lulz, but maybe where it would be like good to do.
Right.
So I thought about this for a really long time, and I could come up with something. Are you ready for it?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So it requires the +1 card token. So like you can either get that from Peasant or Pathfinding, but it turns out I don't think this would actually be good with Peasant.
Ooh, well, no, but Peasant gets you Soldier, which is virtual money, which is gonna be if you can play like 5 of them, it's amazing.
Yeah, but like this is gonna take forever to do.
Right, that's why you're building up to Soldier, so you can get like quintuple province turns, so it's worth it.
Yeah, but like this involves putting the card token on Tactician, and like if I'm doing the Peasant thing, like I already have like a billion other action cards in my deck, so I'd rather put my +1 card token on something else.
Right.
So anyway, I'm thinking like this is exactly Pathfinding.
Yeah.
But hey, Tactician can help you get Pathfinding.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's Pathfinding, and you put the card token on Tactician, and then you have like some kind of doubler, like a Throne Room or a King's Court. Okay, so really all of them work except Procession, because these days
Procession
doesn't work on duration cards, which I think changed since we did our episode on Procession.
Yes, that I was listening to that. I was like, oh, all this is dumb now. It wasn't. It was a fine enough episode. I also listened to that episode of the Dollar Tree. Like, I ran out, like the Apothecary episode ran out, and like Procession was next.
Dude, do you live at the Dollar Tree?
No, I've literally visited the Dollar Tree once in the last year, and I was listening to the podcasts, and they happened to switch. Like, usually I listen to it while I'm biking to work.
Yeah. All right. That's pretty lit.
And that's why I don't remember which podcast I listened to on the way to work, because I listened to like all of them except the Apothecary and Procession.
All right. I'm in. Like, yes, sold.
Yes.
I'm in. But yeah,
back to Tactician.
Yeah, if you do this though, like what happens is you can like throne a Tactician at the end of your turn. You draw a card, which doesn't matter the first time. You discard your hand, and then
you draw another card.
When you replay the Tactician, you draw another card, which allows you to discard.
Before anything else happens, yes, because like that's how the +1 card tokens works. Usually it doesn't matter, but the drawing happens before everything else.
Yeah, so like you can throne or you can king a Tactician at the end of your turn, and then it works kind of multiple times for the next one. So you could do this like 5 times with Royal Carriage if you really wanted to. Unless
you drew your deck, in which case that does not work. So be careful to leave some cards in there.
No, it still works though, because for your first Tactician to work, you
discard your
something.
hand. Oh, yeah. You're right. It does work. My bad.
Just be careful though, because like you can trigger a really awful shuffle with this, which kind of negates the benefit of getting the second Tactician thing. So you really do want to be still playing most of the cards in your deck.
Right.
So that's a little awkward. Or another thing you can do is like, I guess set up some card, like top deck a card or something, so you don't cause a shuffle, which can be a little difficult to do, but it's still a thing.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, if I can throne room something. And like, yes, let me do that. Like, I'm throning a Tactician, which is like has the biggest effect and is only balanced because you can do it 1 time a turn. But like, yes, let me break that, please. I would love to do that.
You could also, I'm trying to think of a crazy way. If you throne a throne, the first time you play the throne, you hit there's got to be a way to make this work. No.
You would need to put pathfinding on throne room for that to work.
Oh, I knew there was a way to make that work.
Which is arguably better than what I was talking about, but
probably.
But maybe you don't have that many throne rooms, or maybe throne rooms are harder to get, or maybe you just want that much duration draw.
Or maybe it's six-player and you only have 2 throne rooms.
There you go. Maybe that happened. Yeah. Then you can go for this. Anyway, this seems like it would actually be practical. The problem is it requires like exactly Tactician, exactly Pathfinding, and also like one of a pretty limited set of cards. Throne Room, King's Court, Royal Carriage.
It takes 3 things, so probably not happening.
Yeah. So like I've never actually done this in a game.
Yeah, confession time, me neither. As much as I love the card, never actually pulled this off in a game.
Yeah, but like, I mean, that's not the point of this podcast. Yeah. All right. Well, that was fun. Do you have anything else to say about Tactician?
Yeah, Tactician is better than I am at explaining why Tactician is great. So just go play with the card, and you'll see what I mean. Even if I didn't convince you with this episode.
So just buy it and play it, and then you'll see the light.
And play the 10-card turn and enjoy the not totally busted fun.
It feels so good.
Yes, Tactician is a feels good card. Like some cards, I see them and I'm sad they're there. Like King's Court, oh man, that would have been so much better with Throne Room. MOUNTEBANK, oh, I wish that was not a junker that would make the game fun. But Tactician, I'm never sad to see. I see that dude and I'm like, yes, this game's gonna be more fun now, every time.
You don't like King's Court?
Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm like, this could have been interesting, but King's Court just lets me do whatever I want. And it's the constraints that breed creativity. And King's Court just gets rid of all those restraints. And then it's just, just puke cards on the table and you win. Which is not as fun as I have to think. Which is why I like Throne Room more than King's Court.
Interesting. All right. I mean, I do like vomiting cards.
Like occasionally that's fun. Like I put 10 goons on the table and I buy every card of the supply. That's pretty fun, but once.
My favorite thing to do in Dominion is to pick up the entire stack of provinces.
Yeah.
Not knowing or caring how many are in that stack, but I know that no matter how many it is, they're all
mine. That's the best.
I've done that like twice ever.
I think I've done it like 3 times, but 2 of them were against my 8-year-old brother, so it's not really fair. He's a prodigy at Dominion. Like for 8, he's crazy. He'll be the next world champion if he keeps accelerating at this rate. But I digress.
All right, nice. In games where people were trying to win, I've done it twice.
Right.
And God, it felt so good. It has to be like with the physical cards. Like you can't just like spam click on the client until
clicking every province is fun, but just picking up the province file. It's not the same as
just like
feeling the. I'm
going to pick up this stack of the cards that everyone wants, and whoever has the most of wins the game. And they're all mine. It doesn't matter how many there are, because they're all mine.
They're not mine, they're mint.
Speaking of mint, it's in this kingdom that we have that we forced Tactician into.
Yes,
that was
the segue. Perfect.
That was terrible. Okay, I'm going to read you this kingdom.
What?
This kingdom has Workshop,
Mm-hmm.
Death Cart, Herald, Priest, City, Mint, Soothsayer, Tactician, Fairgrounds, Hunting Grounds, and Seaway.
The
it also
double
has
grounds.
Platinum and Colony. Oh, yes. And also has Platinum and Colony.
Yes.
One more time for our audio-only listeners. Workshop, Death Cart, Herald, Priest, City, Mint, Soothsayer, Tactician, Fair and Hunting Grounds, and we also have Seaway, and this game has Platinum and Colony.
Yes.
So what do you think?
My first impressions are, hey, look, it's Tactician, Village, well, not Village, but, close enough. It's Tactician, Village, and Draw, and a lot of virtual money in the form of playing a lot of Priests. So that's the first thing that comes to mind. Like, you can Priest trash down, you can, I guess you're kind of strapped for actions because cities probably run out because you want lots of actions to play lots of Priests. And you also want more plus buy, and there's no way to get plus buy on the board alone. Then you got Seaway, so you put Seaway on something, but what? Is it City? Do you get enough cities to make that happen? Do you put it on Priest? And you need a lot of crap.
You can put it on City.
You can't put. Oh, you can't. Yeah. All right. So
No
priest.
crossroads.
I guess it's just priest or herald, and you don't like herald because it's herald tactician. Those are bad. But well, I mean, they're not bad.
Don't
They're
be
great.
a wimp.
They're great. They just don't put them together. And like you need a lot of crap replenishing with your Actually, this is where tactician's buy matters. Tactician technically, it's not giving you an extra action if you're double tacking because you'll get an action, lose an action, but it is giving you an extra buy. You don't need to spend that buy every turn. So tactician's buy here is going to make priest work slightly better because you can replenish your crap just that much faster. The crap that you're feeding the priest to get a ton of money, so you can get extra copper with the tactician buy. So that's really nice. Another thing pushing more towards that is Fairgrounds. Fairgrounds, and I guess maybe sort of. Well, it's powerful alternate victory points. You got death card. You can shove some ruins in your deck at the last second by like buying 3 death cards, and boom, your Fairgrounds are worth a lot more. So that's pushing me to build more. And priest is, well, he's not the epitome of building, but like I guess the epitome of raw coin building. So. And I imagine city's going to be empty. And if another pile is getting close, like you could maybe 3 pile of Fairgrounds and a few provinces, and city is going to give you those plus buys once those piles start running out, and that's going to let you do things that much faster. You have all the draw you want in the form of tactician, hunting grounds, and some sort of plus actions, and the trashing is sort of strong. As priest is slow initially, but eventually you're going to be crying and hurting for the for junk to give to him. So I guess workshop's extra gains, but like you don't have actions because there's only 1 village stack in the city, so you can't really afford any workshopping stuff to play priest to trash. So I guess you could workshop a death card getting you 3 things all at once.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I think
that
seems obscure. That's my first
I think
thoughts.
death
What do you
card's
think?
good there. So like, so you mentioned Fairgrounds. I think that would have been a good point if there weren't colonies. But
I forgot.
So.
I forgot. It's colony
Yeah.
platinum. Okay, that's dumb. I'm not saying don't build priest because priest is still amazing. You'll get more than enough coin for colonies, but probably don't touch Fairgrounds. My bad.
Priest is a good card. I
Yes.
certainly want it. Probably open with it.
Yes.
And I think it's a pretty good part of the payload here. I think between priest and death cart, you have basically all the virtual money that you could ever want.
I'm not as hot on death cart. Actually, wait. If you play the priest and then the death cart gives you as much money as if it was another priest but +3. So I guess the last card being a death card is great. But since priest is, as you corrected me earlier, quadratically increasing the amount of money you have, it gets busted really fast as compared to death card, which only gives you a raw 5. And well, I guess trashing is irrelevant because priest trashes too. But yeah, if you can play the last card as a death card, it's an extra 3 coin, and that is solid. I'll admit.
Well, yeah, but also like, I mean, if you're using nothing but priest as your payload, then like you're gonna run out of stuff, and like
death cart replenishes the stuff. Yes,
death cart gives you a lot of stuff, so like I care about that.
That is true.
But there's other gainers here. You got Mint and Soothsayer if you're just really desperate for priest food. I guess you can do that too, although they seem a little bit worse. But
Soothsayer's definitely. Question about Soothsayer. So because unless you're doing a huge mint early, actually, you could do a mint early because Tactician. I didn't consider that. Okay, I was gonna say
there is synergy there.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you couldn't do that, then Soothsayer's curses could actually prevent your foe from getting set up fast enough because they can only play, maybe 1 priest a shuffle, maybe 2 if they get 2. It's probably smart to get 2. You definitely want to. Okay, they're playing 2 priests a shuffle. If you also Soothsay them once or twice a shuffle, you can force them not to build as fast, and then you can. The Platinum Colony again, shutting down that strategy because gold becomes kind of bad.
That's hard to do, though. It's hard to keep on playing Soothsayers at the same rate that your opponent keeps playing Thrashers.
Then you have a ton of golds, which would be great in a province game, but it's not. It's a colony game.
And they're still good, but, you want more stuff.
But yeah,
I think the synergy between Tactician and Mint, especially on a colony board, is significant.
Absolutely.
Like, I think you could open Priest Silver, get a Tactician, and go for a big Mint, and just, like, get huge amounts of money. And that could be a decent way to build your deck.
Agreed. Does that deck hit 5 on the turn after that? Because you want City really fast, so you can play a Priest and your Mint. And
I was thinking along the lines of, like, open Priest Silver, get to 5, trash estates with Priest, have my Tactician turn because I don't have estates anymore. I should be able to find everything. I have a buttload of money. I'll buy a Mint, and hopefully, if I can swing it, maybe also a Platinum or have a Platinum in my deck at that point.
How are you getting a Platinum in your deck at that point? What?
Tactician.
All right, so you tactician, you've got your priest, your silver, and your money. That's not you're not gonna get 14 coin.
Just play 2 priests
You have 2 priests. I didn't. Okay, I didn't hear about the second
and a
priest.
silver. Like I mean, it's probably gonna happen. So I mean, that's a good start to your day. It could
Absolutely.
be. I mean, mint really helps accelerate you there, and then like you can
Yes.
just use platinum along with Seaway or whatever to buy stuff that you want.
Right.
I think it's the thing is, I mean, Tactician has enablers here, and Double
Absolutely.
Tactician has enablers here, and like you
Absolutely.
can do a lot of really good stuff with Tactician, and
Right.
I think Tactician is a great way to be a part of certain builds that you want.
Yes.
But also, like, there's a lot of other deck control and a lot of other payload here. And it could
Right.
be that, like, maybe I want to play a deck that has a bunch of Heralds in it. And maybe I trash my Tacticians because Herald is my deck control. I'm not super convinced that, like, the best thing here necessarily involves double Tactician with a bunch of virtual payload.
I don't like Herald. I'm not as big on the Herald immediately because, like, you can hit your priest at an inconvenient time. You could hit your mint at an inconvenient time. You could miss. I don't like it. Tactician feels a lot safer.
Okay, my response to you is don't be a wimp. I think going heavy for Heralds is definitely worth trying out.
Well, yeah, but then you have to like shove a lot of heralds in the deck. Like Tactician, you only need 2. You're getting everything.
If only there was some way to gain a lot of a card that costs 4 or less.
I don't want to spend my terminal actions on workshop. I want to be priesting. So
If I have a lot of Heralds, I've got a lot of terminal actions. I don't really care.
that is actually that's a good point. Touche. Okay, I guess Tactician
Yeah.
does have some competition here.
Yeah, I think it's a decent deck. It's not clear to me that it's necessarily better than something that involves Tactician. And I think City makes that even more complicated.
Yes.
Because if you're going for different things, who has pile control can tend to matter, and who can gain cities faster once that becomes important
Right.
can matter a lot, and then who can benefit more from the cities, because the Herald player certainly doesn't benefit as much from having, like, level 2 cities, the cities that
Yeah.
don't give you the buy but give you the extra card, as
Mhm.
like some other deck that has, I don't know, Priest and Death card for its payload and would just love to just drink up extra cards in action.
Yes.
So it's not entirely clear to me, but I think it's worth trying.
hmm
I think Soothsayer is worth considering if your opponent makes a deck that's vulnerable to it, but I think all the decks we're
Priest
describing are
is
not.
everything has priest. You're not vulnerable to Soothsayer.
I mean, the decks that we're describing, I don't think are vulnerable, but,
Right.
it
I don't
matters.
see anything good on this board that doesn't get priest ever.
Well, Priest is a really good card, and
Indeed.
I definitely want to open with it. Like, I would consider
Absolutely.
opening Priest on a 5/2.
You could open priest with Seaway.
I would do that. I would be sad. But yeah, I think that's what I would end up doing. I think I would open Priest before I would open Soothsayer.
Yeah, you're not opening Soothsayer. Like,
Would I ever open Tactician? That seems bad.
well, with Tactician, the dream is on the next turn you buy the priest, and then you play the Tactician, and then you get to priest and estate, and you buy, I don't know, platinum or
A
something.
platinum?
Yeah, that's not as good as
Yeah,
just
I'm
opening
not
priest
gonna.
silver.
I feel like I would rather open Priest than go for that.
Yeah, I guess there's a slight risk of priest missing the shuffle, but that's also true with the Tactician. So,
I mean, I'm not gonna feel good about it, but like, I think Priest is that good.
yeah.
All right. I guess the other. Well, I don't know. Do you have anything else to say about this kingdom? I think we have a couple things we want to try. How many Tacticians do you think you're gonna have in your deck?
Oh, definitely 2.
Definitely 2, huh?
Yes, like I'm drawing deck because city and hunting grounds. I don't need more than 2. I don't want just 1 because everything is virtual money with priest. Yeah, definitely 2.
All right. I'm thinking. I think it'd probably be 1 for a little bit, and then maybe 0.
Well, you run the incredible risk on this powerful board of dudding with 0.
My response to you remains the same. Don't be a wimp.
Okay, but think about it like this: you're only getting like 5, maybe 6 cities. If your deck, I guess it's not gonna get like fat, but if it,
I wouldn't really go for cities if I did that. It could be the double Tactician is fine too.
Yeah, I'm definitely leaning towards double Tactician. I don't think it's because of my bias for loving the card.
All right. What do you think? Leave a comment in the comments section.
Absolutely.
Let us know how wrong we both are because we have missed the overpowered mint opening here.
Oh, that's a pro play.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can open mint copper, and then you've got 3 money in your deck. Hello.
Yes. Then you
That's
get the
so
silver,
broken.
and then you get another silver. You get the Soothsayer. Then you do that, and then you
No,
get the
you get a
gold,
workshop. You workshop a death cart, and then it's over.
then you get a platinum. These are minting the platinum, and then the game's over.
And then the game's over because your opponent has all 8 colonies.
Yes.
Yeah. Leave a comment in the comments section. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and do that. If not, if you want to contact us, you can go to adamhorton.com. You can find links to all sorts of stuff there. There's a forum there that no one posts in anymore except for me. My contact information is on there. Jake's is still on there too. If you want to hit him up, that's pretty neat.
And on the
There's a link to
sorry.
There's a link to the Discord server, as well as just about every other thing. I don't really care which one you choose, but if you want to talk about the podcast, I'll talk about the podcast with you.
Yes.
What about you, Ari? How can people get a hold of you and find you on the internet?
On the incredibly off chance people care and want to contact me for God knows why, I'm in the Making Luck Discord channel, and my username is AriShipShape. You can DM me on Discord. I'm on the Dominion forums, also AriShipShape, also Tactician Avatar. Everything's uniform.
Nice.
I don't have my own podcast or my own website, unlike you illustrious fellows, but that I imagine if you're listening to this podcast, you have at least Dominion forum / Discord access, so that should be solid.
Sure, and if that doesn't work for you, you can just don't show up at my house, but I can help you out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And that was really fun and a real privilege and honor. Thank you.
Hey, not a problem. And if someone is invited to my house and shows up to my house, or in these trying times, other similar arrangements are made. I'm happy to have people on the podcast that know what they're talking about. And this guy, he knew enough to at least win a tournament, so I figured that was okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you turns out you don't actually have to know that much to win a tournament. Like,
well, no one really knows anything about anything, but Dominion, you were okay at that.
I guess in the loosest sense of the word, sure.
Nice. Glad we could come to an agreement on this.
Yes. I would try to use objective proof, like online ratings, but that's not objective proof. So,
thank you for that.
I would like to use like our win-loss record, like in the last few days. I know at the Dominion Championship, at the Dominion tournament, you kicked my butt in the trophy match, and you let me have the trophy anyway, showing just how far, miles above me you. And like, if you're bad, then I don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah, Dominion's fun.
I am bad at Dominion, and you're not wrong about it, especially the stuff you said that was flattering towards me. You're definitely right about that. I think Ari makes a lot of good points, don't you? Leave a comment in the comments section.
I made good points about Tactician, not much else.
Hey now. Everything you said about me that was positive is like solid gold.
I don't know. I thought it was silver. It's a good card.
I guess. Sure. Silver's fine. I accept.
Oh. Man, I love indulging in these memes in real time.
Yeah. So thanks for listening to the podcast.
Thank you so much for hearing me drone on for however long that was.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. That's why people listen to podcasts, to listen to other people drone on while they're driving with their seatbelt fastened.
Absolutely.
Put your phone down. Ugh.
Man, even though I know what happened in this podcast, I'm gonna have a dilemma. Do I listen to this to keep up my perfect listening streak or not?
I listen to each episode as I edit it at least once.
Well, yeah, but like I'm not. Ooh, I could. I don't know how to edit, but like I'd love to contribute to that if I could.
Oh yeah, we have a process,
Good.
and your contributions will be welcome.
Excellent. Like
I've done a couple episodes of this podcast before, so like.
yeah, like 55.
This isn't my first yeah, like approximately 55 episodes of the podcast. This isn't my first rodeo or anything like that.
Speaking of 55, recall the episode you did where you're just sarcastic the whole episode?
You mean one of the April Fool's episodes?
Yes, you had to be in stitches. That was amazing. I know later you were like, I don't think we should do that, but I, as a listener, highly, highly recommend you do that again. That was
I'm
so
really
good.
glad you feel that way.
I
think
loved
you're
it.
the only person that listens to the podcast that feels that way. Feedback for those was resoundingly negative.
No, I thought it was the best. Like I'm not saying do every episode like that. That'd be terrible.
I liked
but
it.
Occasionally, just one for the funny books. Like that was amazing.
Yeah, there'll be 0.5 episodes, but yeah.
Yes, and my little brother, the prodigy I mentioned earlier, he also loved it. It was a huge hit in our household.
Man, you guys have excellent taste. I just want to say that.
Yeah, like my taste in cards, the better fiber duration.
Sure, whatever you say, man. Tactician's pretty good. Not gonna lie, I like that card. It's just
Yes.
I have opinions.
Yes, and they're also known as wrong, but
Wow, this guy. All right. There's no pleasing this guy.
no, you could put a really nice hat on him, then maybe.
All right.
Man, that's another reason. That's the reason Tactician's better than Captain. Like the hats. Look at the Captain's hat. That's a terrible hat. What was the artist thinking? Could have put the Tactician hat on the Captain, and he might have been as good as the Tactician. But no.
So it seems that there's something has been awakened within you here, and I'm glad we could get that out for the world to consume.
Yes, very important.
Do you feel better?
I won't feel better until the artist redraws that with the right hat, but I don't think it's ever gonna happen.
Savage! Wow. All right. Well, be the change you want to see, man. Artist, if you're listening to this, get busy, bro.
Yeah, imagine like a Dominion artist actually listening to this podcast. That'd be so amazing.
Imagine anyone listening to this podcast.
I listen to the podcast.
Yeah, but you're on the podcast.
Well,
So
I
does it
listened
even
to
count?
I listened to the 100 episodes before I was on the podcast, so those counted.
I guess. Okay, fine. Ah, stop it. Okay. Anyway, yeah, thanks for listening.
Yeah, really appreciate
Glad
it.
you could do that.
Definitely
the next
comment.
one.
Yeah, definitely comment on the kingdom if you think we're totally wrong.
Oh yeah. Let us know what you think about things, podcast, other stuff, life. I don't know when the next episode of this is gonna be, but you know,
Sometime in the future.
hopefully in the future and
Yes.
not never.
Or the
Okay,
past, because that would be really weird. Because like Back to the Future crap.
You know, there is one minisode that was recorded and has already been edited and never was published.
Woo!
Should probably publish that one.
No, you put that on like a CD disc and you sell it as a limited edition, the lost episode.
Wait, I can open up a Patreon.
Yes, and the people that subscribe to the Patreon get.
Oh,
a
what a
limited
terrible
edition.
idea. There's not a Patreon for this podcast, and if I have anything to say about it, there never will be.
Well, what if you get really big?
That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I guess we can cross that bridge when we come to it. Insert obligatory bridge pun here.
Bridge troll minus card token health insurance joke. I got nothing. Okay, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Bye.
Sign off.
Podcast.
Like you mean the podcast. Like that?
Just like that.
Perfect. Oh, is this the part where your saxophone's playing?
It was playing over the over a lot of the stuff we were saying.
Aw.
And this might we just kind of trail off for a little bit, and then there'll be a pause, and then there'll be the Easter egg.
Right. I love the Easter egg. That's one of the best parts.
I should probably silence my phone. That would be responsible.
I
Wouldn't
highly
want
doubt
that,
anyone will text me at this hour, but I'm gonna do the same just in case.
I'm so popular. You know, do you know that, like, you get really popular when you get cancer? Like, everything I post on Facebook now gets, like, so many likes from, like, everyone.
I don't want to say anything is hilarious regarding your cancer, but can I admit that that's hilarious?
You're allowed to say that things related to my cancer are hilarious, especially this. So, if you want to become an Instagram influencer or whatever, and you're not getting enough likes,
Mhm.
I know how to get you there. Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely. Sell my physical health for success on Instagram. That's brilliant.
I mean, it's not pleasant, but it's probably worth it, right?
I know. Yeah, a lot of people devote their lives to trying to get Instagram likes, so I could totally see that being a trade for some people. But I'm trying not to get addicted to that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't have an Instagram, but I don't know. It just seems like the likes I get on Facebook are really the only reason I'm still alive at this point.
Okay,
pretty
that's
sure-
not funny, but I have to laugh.
It is funny because I'm funny and I'm funny. Funny looking. Okay. Oh yeah, that was great.
Agreed.
That'll be a great Easter egg.